Okay, so you're honest with yourself, you admit that you got issues, and you realize that the ego is the number one thing holding you back. So, self reflection, the number one exercise that you will have to be friendly with for pretty much your whole duration in growth. I'll be discussing that along with understanding others on this edition of the Stone Cold Truth. All right, self reflection. You're basically going to be your own self therapist. Of course, you can, I guess, grow with a therapist, but I mean, you could save a lot of money if you just use yourself. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult, especially for some people that went through very traumatic events in their life. But I find, at least for myself, because I tried almost everything, self reflection was the one thing that I can say for sure worked. It helped me understand a lot of things, understand myself, make peace with my past, you name it. Self reflection is simple. Every time you feel negative in any way throughout the day, whether it be at work, school, or just at home, out, wherever it may be, keep a mental track of it, or you can write it down, you can put it in your phone. Then, or if you want, at that moment, you can reflect on it. You can ask yourself, why was I mad? Why was I sad? Why was I feeling ashamed? Why was I feeling trauma? Why was I feeling anxiety? So on and so forth. You keep asking yourself the question like 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. So let me give you an example that happened to me. For many years, I never liked hip hop. Every time I heard certain songs, I would get triggered, I would get upset, I'd get angry, I'd have anxiety. So I self reflected and I asked myself, why am I upset at Little John's To the Window to the Wow? Well, I was upset because 6th grade, this girl broke up with me at a school dance. She was dancing in front of some other guy, like grinding. And yeah, so she didn't tell me it was over. I got upset. I cried. You know. The weird thing was that I never held it against her, but for some reason I never got over the fact that I didn't like hip hop and rap. And through self-reflection, I realized, okay, that's the reason why I get upset when I hear hip hop. So yes, that's basically self-reflection. You ask yourself why you're feeling negative over and over and over till you find the source. But like I said in a previous video, the ego will always stop you. It will always lie to you. It will always get in your way. So even if you ask yourself the question, why was I upset, like 10 times, 20 times, the ego will give you a false answer. Or maybe it'll give you half the truth. The ego is just gonna try its best to protect you and not make you feel uncomfortable and have you face your issues. But this is what you gotta do in your path on growth. You gotta ask yourself consistently why you're upset throughout the day. You reflect on it. You try and find the source. Then you try and get over all of it. That's basically growth. But there's one thing that people don't really talk about a lot, and that's understanding others. People always want to say focus on yourself first, but I found that it limits you. You see, when you understand others, understand things in general, it helps you move on from certain traumatic events in your past. It does help growth. Let me give you a easy example of what I mean. Let's say you're driving, right? You're driving and you see two cars in front of you. You see one car cut the other person off. And then they start to cut each other off. They start shouting obscenities, start flipping each other off. Road rage. Are the people really mad at each other? Or is it because maybe they went through a divorce? Maybe they just broke up in their relationship. They just got fired. Who knows? But the important thing is, you try to understand that people aren't generally mean, bitter, disrespectful people. Certain things in their life turn them into that. When you understand this concept, it makes life a lot better because you're patient with people. So yeah, I learned to be a very patient person in the process because of this. And for the most part, I don't take anything personal. Now, I'm not saying I'm a complete robot that if somebody shouts some obscenity at me that I'm not going to get mad, because I mean at work some people treat me like crap and I do get upset, but I don't take it personal. I just give it a few minutes, I get over it, I go on with my day. But you take this concept of understanding others and you apply it to growth. You try to understand the person that wronged you as much as possible. I mean, sometimes you really just don't know what's going on in their mind, but at least you understand, look, like, even if you don't know what really made them treat you like crap, at least you know that something in their past caused them to be this disrespectful person, which caused that to treat you like crap. That's how you forgive others. Truly forgive others. Not just saying, oh, I forgive you. That doesn't work. Understanding is something you gotta work on. It's a skill. Just like being honest with yourself, it's the same thing. There's 7 billion people, 8 billion, I don't know how much people there are now. But there's just so many stories that you don't know. Everyone's story is different, despite some being similar. Understanding others is something that you'll be doing the rest of your life. But at the same time, you'll be more patient with people. And that goes back to the people saying, oh, just focus on yourself, be selfish. I'm not saying just help others while you're going through growth, but at the same time, you do have to be a human. You do have to care for others. Try and understand others. That's what I mean. So yeah, that about wraps it up. The last video in this whole process of growth will touch on acceptance. Accepting certain hard truths that we all must learn. And it's something that it goes on from the beginning when you first start growth to the end. So yeah, watch that one next. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.